That music thing. It's Bridging Civil Tension with Phil Wallace, entrepreneur, author, all-around just guy. And of course, entrepreneur, old white guy. Old white guy.
Oh man, I was building you up.
That's it. Yeah. Welcome in to Bridging Civil Tension. Absolutely. The show that says, hey, it's better to build bridge than to burn it down. Alright. Let's meet. Let's figure this out. And let's go from there. Let's fade this out. Yeah. Oh, look at that fade. Professional fade.
Professional fade.
That is
I
nice.
haven't seen that type of fade since the 90s in the bar.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
Just help your boy out. Just
Good, a little bit. Just gotta get that hard line out of there. We're good. Hey, welcome back. You're feeling better. That is good. You look like $1 million, man. I've never seen $1 million though. So
I'd imagine. It looks pretty good.
It looks pretty good.
Pretty good.
It looks pretty good. Of course, a lot of stuff going on in the world, and what I wanted to talk about a little bit is lip service.
Ooh.
Right?
On.
And here's why I want to bring that up.
I'm telling
right?
everybody to join us right now.
You doing what?
I'm telling everybody to join us.
Yeah,
right
join us in. Yeah, come on.
Come on in.
So here's the deal, and here's what I wanted to talk about is last June, not this past June, so June of 2020. United States corporations pledged to give a historic sum of money to projects addressing racial inequality following George Floyd's murder.
Right.
Okay, the country's 50 biggest public companies, including Amazon, Apple, J.P. Morgan, collectively committed at least, and listen to this, $49.5 billion to racial injustice initiatives. Here we are 14 months later. Any idea of what these top 50 companies who pledged $49.5 billion have done?
I don't think
they've given it all up. I mean,
I don't think
right?
they scratched $1 billion.
Is it? They've done this
I don't think they scratched $1 billion.
because we're trying to heal the racial inequalities.
Did they get $1 billion?
Let's see what they said. So 14 months
Survey
later,
says?
here's how the money has been spent. $45.2 billion. So more than 90% of the commitment, okay, are loans and investments that went to support Black-owned banks, expand Black home ownership, and grow Black-owned businesses.
Okay.
I think you had the same thought I did, but yep.
The
Go ahead.
donation. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. I mean that's great.
So. Okay. So the donation.
I shouldn't laugh. Tim, good morning.
Morning, Tim.
$1.50, just about.
$1.50
Yeah.
is a loan that they'll make more. Okay, go ahead.
And investments. All right. That's why I say I read this and I'm like, right? Most of the outright grants. Now, grants are one thing, right? Most of the outright grants. That means I give you money.
Right.
You don't have to give it back.
Right. Grants do.
That's what grants do. Most of the outright grants, $4.2 billion worth, went to groups focusing on economic equality, education, and health.
Okay.
Only $70 million went to organizations working on criminal justice reform specifically. So 4.2 billion went to groups focusing on economic equality, government, right? Education, government,
Mm-hmm.
and health.
Good.
Hang in there, right? So I'm just sitting here, and I'm like, this is all lip service. We felt good. Oh my gosh,
They're going to donate. Yeah.
49.5. But that's a lot of money.
They said they're going to give $49.5 billion. What are they complaining about?
Yeah. Okay. So are you with me now?
Mm-hmm.
We're feeling good. Let me continue on.
Go ahead.
Remember, I got to make sure I look through the right line of my glasses. These are just pledges. So it is difficult to track whether the corporations have actually written the checks. These are just pledges.
So even the breakdown wasn't what they actually gave for the loan side. It was what they pledged to do on the loan side.
Yeah. So far, 37 of the 50 companies have confirmed dispersing at least $1.7 billion. Wah, 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 wah. Pew. So, as we talk about, and again, it isn't just in this realm, folks. I'm talking everywhere. We feel good. Oh, hey, $49.5 billion and $45.2 billion in loans. But we can't track that. Of the 37, so that means 13 of the big 50 haven't said anything.
Right.
And we can only track confirmed disbursement of 1.7. So here's
Tim was close.
Close. Close. So here's the deal. I want people to understand this. It sounds good. It feels good. I allocated $45.2 billion to loans and investments. You have to qualify for that loan.
Right.
Oh, but it's sitting there. I can't help it that you can't get the loan. I can't help it that you don't know how to fill out the application. I can't help that the reason that you are applying for this loan, I will say no.
Right.
And I can't help it that you have no way to pay it back.
Right.
Declined. No. Next.
But if it's on a loan, you're going to give the money, but you're going to make more money back off the interest.
Oh. Yeah. So that's what I'm talking about. We felt good back in 20. Finally.
They were going to do this.
Yes. It's going to help. It's going to help bridge. What do we do here? So big picture. While financial muscle from corporate America is welcome, some experts will argue that policy, not philanthropy, is the most effective tactic to combat racial inequality. Now, the other thing is, of these big 50, I want you to understand, now I don't know, I'm not an accountant, I don't play one.
Sure.
But chances are, if I say I have this many billions set aside for this, I probably get some sort of tax thing too.
Most likely.
So it's a win.
Well, you get the tax
win.
cut for the donation, especially if the company's a 501c3.
Yeah.
Or 3C.
501c3, yeah.
So you get the tax cut there, then you're also going to make more money back than what you gave out because it's a loan, so you're going to get the interest on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
So you won twice.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's gangster.
It's big time.
That's gangster.
But I mean, we could roll back, right, to everybody who's listening who says, "Hey, Juneteenth. Well, this is crap." Well, let's see. We said 14 months ago.
We're going to do this for them.
We said 14 months ago we've got $49.5 billion to inject and invest. Here we are 14 months later. Only 1.7 is accountable for. But that can't be the truth. What do you mean the people in Texas didn't get it till June? and we have the internet, folks.
Right.
They did.
They did not. It should be here.
So at what point, folks, do you stop taking lip service and going, "Oh, that feels really good"? That's like saying, "She's got a nice personality." Right?
It seems nice.
He seems like a good guy. So this in lies the problem and why perhaps there'll never be a bridge. Okay? Because if we look at the 50, and I didn't do my research. If we look at the 50 biggest public companies, how diverse are their board of directors? How is it the old white guys club?
In the top 50s?
Yeah. I don't know, right?
Venture to say that most of them would be old white guys club.
Yeah, and a better percentage, we would have a greater than sign. Right?
Which I know it's in Letters in Birmingham, but it's also just in the King's speeches where he talks about constantly being told to wait, right? And how it's always, when it's the African American, to wait and wait and wait and be patient. And then you be patient and nothing actually happens. And so, like you're saying, 14 months later, it's still wait. Well, we're going to get around to it. Well, like you told me this.
It's there though.
It's there, but it's 14 months later, and it's a year, it's 2 years, it's 5 years, it's a decade, it's another decade. At what point, like?
Not my problem that the small bank in your community doesn't offer that.
But then we have the conversation. If we know the small bank in my community isn't going to allow me to get the loan, and I find out that this bank over here will allow me to get the loan, then I'm told that I'm the bad guy for going to this bank that will let me get the loan, get the business.
I don't know. Very interesting.
We'll praise the companies for saying, hey, yeah, we got the billions to donate, but then don't actually look into like what you're saying, that they won't even allow you to get to it. Or it comes with a hook for their personal benefit.
Right. And again, we go back to lip service. Feels good at the time.
Good.
And then somebody says, yeah, but you remember they're in 45.2. See, we were feeling good at that minute, like 45.2 billion. Whoa.
Wow.
Loans and investments. Oh.
But so me and you've had this conversation. We've had this conversation when it's the sentencing for certain people, officers. How they'll say this number, and then if you look 6 months or a year and a half later, it's actually going to be end up being this number.
Yeah.
That number is greatly larger. It's announced, but you come to find out they only did 6 months.
Yeah.
You like the announcement, but if you follow up on what they actually did, it wasn't what they said they were going to do.
Right, that's what I'm talking about. Lip service. How much in our history, all across the history of America, I don't know about Europe or anything like that, so I'll just say America, have we settled for their lip service? Right. Read my lips.
But this is, when we've had these conversations where we talk about it, how certain things appear to be a slap in the face because we watch how quickly things move in certain categories, and we watch 14 months later where other things are for other categories. And I'm not trying to do the victim thing today, but it appears that once again in this category, it's the delay.
Correct.
It's 14 months later. I'm not saying this is my personal opinion. I'm just saying, looking at the calendar,
be patient.
This got this quickly, this got this quickly, and this is 14 months later that we're still on the same topic. But if I point out that historically this is what happens every single time, we're told your time's coming, buddy. At what point do we realize in this category it's always a delay?
So the 49.5 billion, why aren't they all just grants? Say, here, we're going to go in, we're going to inject so many million into this neighborhood to create infrastructure, to create jobs, whatever, you know what I mean?
Right.
Why is it loans and investments?
It's business, right?
To support black-owned banks, expand black home ownership, and grow black-owned businesses.
I'll do it this way. Have you seen a time, and I'm saying this with love, you're a little older than I am, have you seen a time where America has helped out blacks historically without a hook?
To answer that, I would say, without researching it, I would have to say I don't remember one.
I don't recall.
Right.
I don't recall a time of rations or proper military support. I haven't seen a time where it's been this Southern Brigade or this troop that was from is going to get quality. I've never even the Tuskegee experiments were supposed to help, and that turned into So I haven't seen a time where it's been help without a hook, even though, like we talked about, after slavery happened, there was help to give to other people without a hook. Historically, towards other races.
The 50 biggest companies, public companies in America, are there for a reason. They know how to make money.
Right. And so that's what I'm saying.
Right.
If I'm going to get a tax cut on $1 billion,
That's
pretty
good tax.
then I'm also going to get interest for the loan side.
Yeah.
That makes business sense.
Yeah.
I got to get the crowd off my back because I said I was going to pledge. I shut them up. I said the things they needed to hear. But this is what's going to help our bottom line. We're actually going to save a bunch of money on this tax, and we're going to actually make money on the back end off this loan. And now this group that we're helping is suddenly paying us more and more and more money. If they ever fall behind, we take whatever business it was they created.
And the rate's going to be a little bit higher because you're higher risk, whatever. Right. Yeah. And that, so at what point do we just get fed up and start saying enough lip service?
Right.
Enough. Don't tell us, hey man, I got you. I'll be at your barbecue. I never show up.
And then not show up.
You're waiting. You're like, hey.
I was fine if it was going to be me, Zoe, Mark. Like, cool. Right. Can't come. But if like, hey, no, seriously, this time I'm on the way.
Right.
Where the hell's that?
Never
show up.
Never show up.
Then eventually, like, bro, what's the problem?
And don't even tell me you're coming. I know you're not going to be there.
I know you're not going to be there.
Just let's be honest with each other, right? And that's where we are in today's society. I think people are starting to go enough lip service, but now when I say enough lip service because I've hit my tipping point, you're saying I'm angry. You're saying, hey, just calm down, relax. Yeah. There's 49.5 billion out for you.
I mean,
right?
This is an over dramatic example, but if you were on an island and I said I'm dropping off supplies, oh my God, fresh water, food, blah, blah, blah.
Hallelujah, here we go.
And then I just didn't. But you're hearing that, Phil pledged $49 billion worth of supplies to help these people on this island.
Or it's like this. I'm going to drop off some food. I'm going to drop off some water, and you're gonna love it.
Right.
And I dropped off vending machines. Right.
Hope you got quarters, bro. On an island.
I gave it to you.
I did help. The supplies are there. You just got to pay me, and I'll be back every Friday to pick up the change out my vending machine.
Out of my vending machine.
But you got a chance to eat, buddy.
You got that? It feels good.
Feels good.
I did what I said I was going to.
I did drop off food.
Oh, you got quarters on that island.
And it's not like the regular. It's the gym vending machine. The Gatorades are $3.
That's right. Yeah, airport.
Airport.
Oh, yeah. Hey, right. Yeah. Hi, Shana. Good morning. All offers to help are ultimately self-serving to at least some degree. Do you think we'll see AI participate in criminal sentences? Do you think it would be ultimately more fair? Artificial intelligence. That's interesting.
For criminal sentencing.
So it takes the human emotion or bias out of it. That's interesting.
It would be interesting. Here's my only concern with that. What's it going to be based off of? Stats.
Yeah.
Statistically, African Americans are the most dangerous individuals on planet Earth. Even though also historically, you look at the number count, it's not us.
Or is it just here's what the law is?
I'm just saying what goes into the computing of the AI.
Exactly. Would be statistics.
Statistically, this race is more. So
unless they just put the law books in there.
I would hope. I think it's a great idea, Shayna. I genuinely do. I think it would be
that would be
to
interesting.
not have someone be able to look at skin color, and just be like, "Hey, this crime is this much time. This crime, this much time.
Yep.
This crime, this much time."
The facts presented, boom. Here it is.
You're gonna have a programmer who's gonna have to put something to have them go off of. The stat line is in there. Right now, that stat line is kind of biased.
Right. Or they just put the law book in there, and that's the way it goes. I mean, you're right. It has to be programmed by somebody. And right now, we have to trust the powers that be. Right. The 50 biggest who said they had 49.
We have to trust them on. Hey, we have to trust them on their word.
Do you think it would be ultimately more fair?
I think the concept would be. I just don't. Again, going back with how they're going to have to program it, I don't see that. I would love that the person who makes that program be just the best Mother Teresa-hearted individual.
Mm-hmm.
But what that program is going to serve and seeing how our country acts in those situations, I can't trust just the complete integrity of the individual who's going to do that programming.
And then fair.
It was just like when we talked about the Louisville investigations. Like, wait, the same group who's being investigated is doing the investigation,
right?
And we're like, that doesn't make sense. Why would we trust that person? Okay,
right.
So we're going to trust the same people with the sentence with the programming for sentencing.
And
you know,
and I mean, artificial intelligence would have to be able to take in the evidence, right, and say, wait a second, this is the law. You gave me this blood, but
right.
You said you saw that person run.
How?
And then, and now again, you can't pay off an artificial intelligence, So, hey, good morning, Tim.
Good morning, Tim.
Welcome into the bridge. And that's an interesting. In a world that would be kind of cool just to take that human feeling, emotion, and bias out of it.
Isn't there a Tom Cruise movie about this?
It could be. I don't know. You can't handle the truth.
They know that you're going to commit a crime. They arrest you before you commit the crime.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't seen that.
It's like an old school movie.
So, the idea of feeling good, and as a parent, my job is to make my kids feel good, right? Or hey, I may not know if it's going to be okay, but I'm gonna tell them it's going to be okay. I'm going to give them lip service. It's going to be okay. Right. I don't know. There's water coming in the car. I have no idea that we're going to be okay, right? That's my job. Is it the government's job to make us feel, oh, hey, thanks, $49.5 billion coming in to racial inequality to help bridge that gap, and only 1.7 is accounted for. That's a long way off after 14 months. Or is it? I don't know.
So in that same amount of time, though.
Hey, Mark. Good morning, brother. Welcome in.
Morning, fam. I was with Mark yesterday. Mark's layers.
Good cat.
In that same amount of time, though, we watched the vaccine be produced. How much money went into the vaccine?
I don't know. A lot.
Tens, thousands?
Millions. Yeah, probably a lot.
All right, so we're watching enough money be created for the vaccine to have it all the way foolproof. Everyone's mandatory for it. It's been tested that much. Yeah. So they said, well, they just threw more money at this project, and that's why it went faster. It's not because they just wanted to. They said the money was there. Okay, so the money can be there for things that we deem important.
Correct.
So then what's the
quickly?
So then what's the flip side of that?
Oh, here we are 14 months later.
It must not be that important.
Yeah. Right. Why did, so again, it was pledges, but they don't tell us that. Hey, top 50, throwing $49.5 billion to bridge racial inequality. And we all go, yay! 14 months later, we're like,
don't be the Dr. Evil of philanthropy. Don't be like $100 billion, $1 billion. Right. And then you don't give anything.
Now let's talk about this. Some experts argue that policy, not philanthropy, is the most effective tactic to combat racial inequality. Would you agree with that?
I get the concept, right? You're just not just throwing money to any useless individual, or they deem useless that it's not going to be any type of return. I understand that, right? Teach a man to fish, and then that saying goes. At the same time, that's not how this country was founded, though. So it just seems like we're splitting hairs here, because when it was this, slaves stopped working, and all of a sudden the reparations went to the slave owners, the plantation owners. We didn't care about not being philanthropists then, so why now?
Right.
And at the same time, if you're talking about donating to like companies and like African American education and things like that, criminal reform, like if that's what you're doing, it's not unfertile soil.
Right.
You're not just giving it to crackheads on the South Side. Like, you're giving it to businesses and intelligent individuals who can do something with that financial aid that is available to other races.
Maybe more money in grants. I mean, we only put $4.2 billion in grants to education, on economic equality and health. Why not? Only, you know what I mean? We pledged $45.5 billion to black-owned banks and expand black home ownership. All is great, but again, not owned, right? and if I can, and here's the banking world, if I can make your bank look good,
Right.
then I will give you an offer and I will buy that bank. Right? I mean, that's the banking world. So that's the way it happens. And now it's no longer
my bank,
black owned. Right? Black home ownership, all fantastic. The bank still owns that until that mortgage is paid off.
Right.
And guess what? Oh, you lost your job. Oh, you're not educated enough to get another job. Oh, you can work at slinging chicken at Kentucky Fried Chicken for $1.50 an hour.
Slinging chicken.
Hey, Tim knows. He's a Kentucky Fried guy. Wearing flame retardant pants at Kentucky Fried Chicken, right? So the idea is now all of a sudden I've got to come in and take your home.
Right.
So while I'm doing that, I might as well gentrify the area and take it away from you. Right. And then I can say, well, look what I injected into this neighborhood. Look at how good we are. Yeah. Well, where's the neighborhood? Oh, they had to move out.
We don't know. It's not our responsibility.
Not my worry at this point.
Not my concern.
Not my concern. We offered them jobs.
Elgin.
They just
Elgin.
decided to get out.
Elgin.
Yeah. Right. So interesting, right? Just to me, just some interesting things there. And that's what we're talking about lip service. How much do you put up with? Where do you go? Why do we keep going down this road and feeling good about it?
So then my question is, there's people like me and you who see the lip service, and then see something not acted upon X amount of months or years later, and like, man, that's frustrating. We can say that without being victims. Man, that's frustrating.
Yeah, definitely.
But there's also that group of individuals who it's a one-off that this happened, and it just so happened that circumstance made it so that there was only $1 billion that was pledged this year. I mean, it was a tough year, Phil. COVID.
It was tough,
right? And we can figure out whatever to say. And people like me and you are looked at for being over the top, of being frustrated that once again it's just lip service and no action is actually being taken to help out this group of people. How do we explain to this group of people that it's not just a one-off, that this is a pattern, that this group over here is not just over-exaggerating or frustrated for no reason, that they're frustrated, that historically over time this is a pattern that seems to repeat itself? Because it doesn't seem like... And I'm not even saying this in a mean way. It just doesn't.
Those people have all the same rights I do. Work hard, do things.
But like, at least be able to say, I could see your frustration because this does happen to you guys a lot. It does seem that every single time there's an opportunity to step up, you step away, or step back. Versus just you guys are being a victim and stop complaining about it. Like, well, we didn't ask them to say they're pledging $49 million. They said they were going to do so they get patted on the back. They can get the community eye and the praise. Oh, look how good ABC company is for pledging $2 billion. Right.
Nice PR.
Nice PR. And then
run the CEO out in front of everybody.
Right.
Hey. Right?
The token. And
then all of a sudden, the powers that be say, okay, no more story here because we've got it taken care of. Good job. Next.
On to the next thing.
And yet 14 months later, somebody goes, hey, what about all that money? Right?
It's tied up right now.
Hey, it's pledged.
It's pledged.
It's just sitting there waiting for you guys. Come get it. No, because then we tried.
We tried.
Right? Here's my denial letter. Right here. So throughout history, we can go back and go back and go back and go back and go back. And to where it was, and if we want to stay on the racial piece, we can go back all the way to slavery. It's like, hey, Phil, just do this for me, and I will allow you to be free. But let's go back every 5.5 months, okay? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's lip service. Throughout the world, there's too. I bought into the story. And it's we have to at least come to a point to go, wow, you guys are getting the raw end of this deal every time.
It's consistent.
Literally.
I mean,
but I know white people who couldn't qualify for that loan either. And it's crap because it's just for black people. We had a listener say that once, right? Okay. The yeah but, which was our very first show of this, saying get rid of the yeah but, because it, so but here again, when does the other side, when does the opposing view finally go, God, you guys do get it. Jeez.
That's what I'm saying. At some point, it's like it's not a coincidence anymore. It's not a one-off anymore.
Right.
It does seem in most situations with this group involved, this is how the ball bounces.
Yeah. Yeah. And you just, as a human being, you just got to kind of get frustrated and go, enough is enough.
Yeah. We're having a conversation, and I can't remember who it was with, and it was the phrase was said, well, these things take time. Which just hurts me. These things take time. And going back to what we said about how MLK was talking the same thing, like these things, that's 60 years ago. He said slavery, it's 100 years, like, it takes a decision. It doesn't necessarily take all this time. We made a decision for other races. We made a decision for these policies to be implemented. Like it's not the time thing. It's a decision that we're going to go this direction. We're not going back over here. This is how we're going to do things from now on. Hey, if you see this, say something, because we can't keep doing this and then say united anything. We're not a united anything if we're doing divided habits.
Period. Amen. Period. And the lip service does everything to continue.
Yeah.
To keep that divide.
It is never going to help build a relationship.
Right.
If I told Elijah that I was going to go pick him up and go to the playground, and then go pick him up and go to the playground, and then I never did, that relationship will not be united after X amount of years.
Right.
Let alone 60? 60 years from now, if I always told Elijah I was going to pick him up and then not show up. Huh?
200?
200, right. I'm just trying to go the low numbers.
Right.
At the low numbers. So,
right.
Okay, so that wouldn't be cool for 60 years doing it to anybody. Okay, well, understand this is hundreds.
So you coach a lot of people. You're a business coach. You're very successful in business. So they pledged this. What would you say a goal without a date on is?
Wish.
Yeah. Right. So they didn't come out and say, listen, we're committing at least $49.5 billion to racial injustice initiatives. And we're going to have this $49.5 billion in the hands of everybody within 24 months.
Because that's responsibility. And that takes accountability. See, now I'm accountable for it.
Right.
Right.
But what happens is, good.
If I do vague language, I can still get the applause without the follow through. I'm not so responsible for it by when, like you said, the time date. But if I say, hey, I'm going to be there by this time with this in hand, and Kent Jones will have this check for it. We'll be taking a picture on Monday of the $1 billion that we're donating 21 cents.
Hey.
All right, then.
Make sure that's a grant.
Then you better show up, because people are going to.
Right. So when we talk about lip service, what are the actions behind it? A lot of people don't understand goal setting. A lot of people don't set goals. Right. Hey, you can look at the whiteboards in here. We've got goals, and we've got dates on those goals, and money values and things like that we want to achieve here at this station.
Yes,
right. And we look at that on a daily basis, and we try to push and do things to make that happen. And I mean, we have somewhere written in here that we'd like to have good content on our station. One day we'll get there.
One day we'll get there. Dream big.
Dream big, right? But no, with all joking aside, is if you take the United Way and they say, hey man, by here, and they got a thermometer, we want to raise this much money to inject into the community, and we got to hit it by this date.
Right.
And we track it with a thermometer. But yet, with these 50 largest companies, we're not tracking a thermometer. And as a matter of fact, only 1.7 billion. It's still a lot of money. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
but it's a far cry 14 months later of the $49.5 billion that was committed to or pledged, right? So put a date on it. Hey, Google, Amazon, Apple, how much are you giving precisely?
Right.
And put a date on it. And do this. Here's what I'm going to do. With those loans, they're going to be zero interest loans.
They're not doing that.
Wait, what? Yeah, we're not looking to make any money. We want to help out. So it's a zero interest loan as long as it's used by this. Oh, so you're going to give me $350,000 to start my business or continue to run my business. I do have to pay that back, but there's no interest. So it's really you're giving it to me, and I'm just kind of giving it back. But thank you very much. Right? It's still kind of a loan, and it's a great thing to do. But what are the parameters here? The parameters are, well, good luck qualifying. Good luck with that. We want to help grow Black-owned businesses, but I can't qualify for because I don't show enough income because I'm a business owner. I took write-offs, and now what? Crickets. Crickets. So, well, we pledged it. I feel good about my pledge. Too bad for you.
I can sleep well at night.
Yeah.
So then I think an important part to highlight is you shouldn't necessarily praise or hate. I mean, some stuff you don't say, but don't get so caught up on the lip service of what a person says they're going to do for a group if they're not. Watch the follow through.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good form requires follow through.
That's right.
Right. So if a person says we're going to do this and their letter is an R or a D or whatever, or if you've been committed to a group because they're D and you're D and historically, just make sure you're watching the follow through for whatever that group is doing or saying that they're going to do, because I'm watching a lot of people praise or not like a group, but you don't understand that the group that you're praising doesn't do what they're following through, and the group that you're hating.
Right. Where's the accountability? Where's the uprise today about only having 1.7 out in 14 months? And again, I don't. Maybe that's a lot. I don't know. It is a lot of money, but I don't know what.
Just compared to what was pledged.
Correct.
We're wondering where the gap is. I'll say it that way. I'm not complaining about the 1.6, but why is the gap so wide between the 49? Because I'm sure that you guys had some financial analysts and be able to look at that and then say, hey, based off our numbers, we can pledge this. And is it that far off?
And the story that I got this from doesn't say where it was. Maybe it's all 1.7 billion in loans, and nothing's gone to health, nothing's gone to education, nothing's gone to economic equality.
Right.
I don't know, right? So we're kind of in the loss too, saying, oh, maybe there's been some really, really good things that have happened with $1.7 billion already, but we don't know. They're just saying, we by our taxes, 37 of them, so 13 of them are like, no comment. So at some point you have to get frustrated and go, no matter what it is, whether it's racial equality, whether it's relationships, whether it's a teacher to student, whether it's boss to employee, can we have a conversation now about follow through? Can we have a conversation about accountability? Because let's be honest, if you work for me and you're not hitting the numbers I think you should work, I'm going to have that accountability conversation. And we're going to fix it, or we're going to say goodbye, right? My boss should do the same to me. So there are some, but why are we afraid to hold these 50 largest companies accountable? And I know a lot of you out there who run these, at Apple and Amazon. I know a lot of the CEOs tune in to the bridge, and we appreciate it. Right. Jump on and let me know what you've done.
Please.
How much have you given into what?
We're not saying that you hadn't had. We're just not saying that, or wondering what the process is.
From our sources. Right. So, Tim owns a small business, right? We've had Tim on the show, and again, open enrollment's coming back here shortly. And so, a little shout out to the Santos Agency, Health Markets in McHenry. But if Tim said, I've got you insured.
Oh, we're good.
And
Tim's got it.
And then all of a sudden you go to the hospital and you ain't got insurance.
They're like, who do you have?
And guess what? There's going to be an accountability conversation there with Tim. Like, what?
Bro,
right?
You said I was good.
Yeah. And meanwhile, Tim's smoking his cigar out on, the veranda of his high rise in New York, or downtown, McHenry. And he's like,
it's close. Same.
Phil, what I said is I pledged your insurance.
I didn't say I'd actually cover you.
Right?
Gotta listen close.
and you're going to have that accountability. So where is this accountability? So for everybody in the media, everybody who just said this was wonderful and walked away from it, where's that accountability? Why isn't there an uproar now going, wait a second, this isn't right? Okay.
I feel.
I mean, the
general public has to care enough to really follow up.
Yeah.
To feel that there's an injustice happening, and it didn't seem like there was enough people who really felt that.
And let me ask this to the listeners out there, and if you're on Facebook, feel free to comment. This is a weird question. If all of a sudden riots started again because they haven't seen $47.8 billion, would you be upset with the people who were rioting for the rest of that money? Go.
They would. Society would.
You think so?
Easily.
You think? Oh, you think they'd be upset at them? They'd be mad at the people who were rioting.
Yes.
Because they're so angry that you didn't give me what you said you were.
Doesn't matter. That's not how you handle things. Act like adults. Stop complaining. Maybe if you guys got jobs,
But don't kneel.
But don't.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't even throw that in
there. That's what'll happen when you watch certain things. It's like, okay, so this happened.
Yeah.
You're mad at this.
Hey, it's there for you, buddy. Why are you mad?
I
ain't seen
I don't see in any other situation. Children. Rescue animals.
Do you know how long it takes to get rid of $49.5 billion? It takes more than 14 months. Write a check.
I watch. And I'm not. I mean, if Jay-Z said that he was going to give $49 billion, let's say he had it, right, or $100 million to an animal shelter, rescue animals, and didn't do it, he'd be the worst person
in the world, right?
In America,
right now. Yeah.
But if we say we're going to give that's $100 million. But if we say we're going to give billions to black people and we don't do it, doesn't even hit the radar.
Yeah. And specifically, and we're talking about this because specifically it said black-owned banks, black home ownership, and black-owned businesses. So that's why we're bringing this up, and not saying just all minorities. This was, what do they say, earmarked, right, or tagged for this specifically for racial inequality, right? So, yeah, would you be upset if all of a sudden the people who were pledged, who these companies collectively committed, is how it's said, at least that money, got just so pissed off and it started rioting because they're so pissed off? Is that acceptable? Or is it not acceptable? And I can tell, I think we've struck a nerve because I can tell there's not a lot of comments coming in. Right. Unless they're really typing it out. Right? So I would sit there as a non-black person, folks. I'm a white guy, right? For all you listening, I'm the white Uncle Phil. Look it up and then just paint him white. That's really what I look like. All right. So it's the truth. Yeah, right? Anyway.
Yes. Yes.
Anyway. The whole thing is, I'll show you a picture after this. It's very funny. Very funny. The whole thing, now I've thrown him off. The whole thing is, I just as a human being and really kind of digging into it, I would go, yeah, they really kind of have a right to be pissed. You want it to stop? Give them the money. Give them the money you promised them 14 months ago. Change the parameters to make it easier for them to get the money. Whatever the case may be. You're still making money because most of it's loans and investments.
So an investment,
You're still making money.
an investment deal is still structured so that you get the benefit financially as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Probably more than what you threw in.
Probably. That's just the way it works.
That's typically what
That's
people do
banking.
for investments. Yeah.
Yeah, that's banking. So why on God's green earth would people then be upset if we hit the tipping point and all of a sudden
But here's my thing, and we've said this. Name a time in history where America's been cool with any type of black protest, even the nonviolent kind. Even sitting, kneeling,
walking across the bridge,
walking across a bridge, not to loot, not to riot, not just to walk,
sitting
down,
at the front of a bus,
sitting, kneeling, whatever the case. No, they're not, as general public right now, I feel.
Yeah.
They're not going to justify the right of like, it's $48 billion. Same people that if $20 fell out of their pocket, they'd be pissed. But $48 billion, we're supposed to turn the other cheek.
Turn the other cheek. Very, very difficult.
It's
right?
going to be, it's going to be it's not going to be justified. It's not going to be okay. It's not going to be, we understand. I would think that most people are like, they shouldn't have pledged the $49 billion if they weren't going to do it. You're holding them accountable.
Right. Or they'd say,
now they're going after.
Or they would say this: listen, Phil, not in my town. You go to their headquarters and you do that. Don't do it here. Well, I can't get to their head. How am I supposed to get out there? Right? And I got to make some noise where I stand.
But that's the thing. I'm still expected to go out of my way to do it the right way.
Correct. Not here. You go. You go to Amazon.
I'm still having to jump.
Loot Amazon.
I'm still having to jump through hoops.
Yeah.
To appease versus being able to be frustrated.
Yeah.
In the situation, most people would say rightfully so. It's still no. You go to Seattle and then right there where the Apple location.
Yeah.
All right. Tim said.
Oh, Tim, thank you. There's what Tim says. Yeah. Go ahead. Read that.
You're asking people who were upset that black people who were being killed unjustly by police officers rioted and protested, if they would now be upset if they rioted for not getting money. I love Tim.
Yeah.
If you listen closely, you can hear my laughter all the way from Green Street. That quiet echo that you hear on the road.
Right.
Tim.
Yeah.
Right. Tim, are you not allowed to protest being killed unjustly? You think the country who thinks you're all lazy victim people is going to be happy that you're writing for money that was promised to you? That they feel that none of you have jobs anyway, and that's the only reason why they're so upset? Like, it's not going to go well.
Well, okay. Yes, that's what I'm asking. And what I'm also asking is that then, right? If then, let's roll back and say, if it's okay for me to be upset because we promised you billions of dollars, it's not okay for me to be upset that we promised you freedom. We promised you equity. We promised you equality. Think about it.
Equal protection by the law.
Think about it. Right? And there are some people out there who can't you make a good point. Yeah, I guess that money is theirs and they should be pissed. Why is it okay for just money? Is the whole idea that I'm trying to get at here, right? And Tim so eloquently put it. I love that man, and he's got a hamburger named after him. So Santo Burger at Pineapple Express, delicious hamburger too. Yeah, bingo.
Right.
Lights come on. Oh, I was blind and now I see.
I love what you did there, by the way. That was smart how you did that. So why not these categories? I was like, where's he going? Ooh, I see.
But think about it, right? And that's kind of what we at the Bridge always kind of play and push and talk about. But these are the conversations we want to have. These are the uncomfortableness that we want you to be uncomfortable with and to think about and go, well, that is an interesting concept. Why I was very upset because of this, but now that's
right.
Boy,
that's
boy. Here's what I'd love to see as well. How many people have tried to apply for those loans and have gotten turned down? That would be an interesting number to see as well. Because if only 5 people have, well, okay, maybe we're not doing the right marketing. Maybe we need to get it out there a little bit better. But if 500,000 have been turned down out of a million,
Yeah.
and then
Sums up.
Yeah, it's a little different.
Half?
Right. So now we look at it a little different. So the idea, and yes, and go back to Tim, and they would say, well, you can't just give them money. Yeah, they shouldn't be mad. We were giving them money. It's not our fault they didn't get it. Not that they didn't go get it. Perhaps it wasn't there to begin with. Maybe it was just lip service to make everybody feel good. And calm down now. Calm down. Right?
I mean, I lived in Florida when Katrina hit. So, being Southern African American, watching people have supplies to help and not do it as fast as they could, hits a nerve. Right? Like, you have teammates who had New Orleans family, and the response from them was you could see boats or planes flying over, and helicopters, but they just wouldn't get the families off the roof. You have the supplies, you have the equipment, you're pledging to do so, but you're passing over people who need it the most.
And we were there to help.
So much so that there's random Americans have to start. In Houston, random Americans are getting their own boats because they didn't want to have it happen again. My bucket is empty.
It's empty.
It's just, you don't like, because that's what I was saying, like people in Houston, random people were driving down with boats because they didn't want another New Orleans.
Right.
Watching people who should have been getting help not get helped. Yeah. And we knew that we couldn't rely on the government to do so. It just gets tired of watching that same theme of we're saying that we have the supplies to help you guys. We're just not going to give it.
Yeah. And that's kind of, we talked a little bit about that on the grounds, the show that Pete produces. And at what point do we just get frustrated enough to go, oh, Shayna says, how do we determine the quote unquote why with certainty? Ethnic factors aside, what other commonality, if any, exists? If we lived in a 100% white country, we would come up with other reasons to categorize and marginalize groups for other reasons. I'd like to see a partnership between schools and entrepreneurs to create the next great idea. The best way to fix a broken system is to implement something better. Amen. Right? And yes, that's who we are as a people. And that's why I say we'll always have racism. We'll always have divisiveness as long as people are involved. It's just the way that it is. And again, we can go back to equity versus equality and that whole argument that we had several weeks ago. But yeah, you know what? There were times, like my dad went to General Motor Institute, right? Back in the 60s, and he learned how to be an electrical engineer. So he went to school for 6 months. He worked in the factory for 6 months. Went to school for 6 months, worked in the factory until he graduated with an electrical engineer degree, to which then he's creating harnesses for the C-style bodies, cutlasses, and those things, right? Because he was an electrical engineer, and then works his way up and whatnot. And yeah. Do we see that anymore? No, we've taken a lot of those things out of the school systems because of costs or whatever. But yeah, brilliant idea, a partnership between schools and entrepreneurs to create the next great idea. Well, what we have to do then is we have to get rid of the bureaucracy, get rid of the government piece of those schools. Well, you can't come in, Phil. I understand that you run several successful businesses and you're an author.
We can't have you.
Can't have you. Well, the reason we can't have you is because really you're wanting them to think for themselves.
I don't like that.
I don't like that.
That's going to be the tough part when you partner schools and entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs are going to tell you what's real. Schools are going to tell you what's regurgitated, and they're going to tell you what they're told to tell you.
Correct. What the curriculum
says.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I sit with kids all the time. When I say kids, college students, and who are taking business administration. I'm going to major in business. Okay, what do you plan to do with that? Well, I'm going to get out and I'm going to run a business. Then just go to work.
You have a passion.
Hook into a CEO and learn. Get a mentor, right? Find somebody who's done it. It's not somebody who's been in education, 20 years with a PhD and never run a business, right? I've just taught my entire life on people how to run a business. Doesn't work that way. Give me somebody who's got some dirty clothes. Give me somebody who's been out there, right?
I feel though like she said the best way to fix a broken system is to implement something better. I mean, that's probably what some of those loans are going to go to. If you look historically, when African Americans were in lower situations and stuff that was invented out of their circumstances was incredible.
Yeah.
So that billions of dollars would probably spark something like what we're looking for. We just got to get approved for it.
Yeah. And again, I mean, a brilliant idea. But there are so many wiser people, so many more creative people in places that we don't know, and we don't allow it. We don't want it, right?
And there's so many like young, lively, well-spoken entrepreneurs that would love to play some sort of role.
Yeah.
We talked to Zevin with Boomble Company, and he's like, "Oh man, if you had people who would want to learn this and personal development and that, and how to grind and how to, we'd love to."
Love to.
But he's going to say real, and
the
teacher's going to say the curriculum.
Yeah.
So they're going to always push for that.
And then you're working with people, and how dare you not have an education, not have a degree? I've got my master's, and you're going to have this guy who created himself off the streets, who's got a high school education only, or not that, because they had to drop out to support their entire family because their mother was killed or whatever.
One of my buddies, he did a semester in college, dropped out, became a millionaire at 26. So he's not going to tell you the 4-year degree story.
No.
He's going to say, go get it and then grind for it until you have it. And that's how I became a 26-year-old millionaire.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I think to fix a broken system is to implement something better. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But what we have to do to move that direction, I think, Shane, is we have to stop accepting lip service as okay.
Right. We got to put effort towards the things that are going to actually make change, and not just be cool with the lip service.
And have accountability. And maybe that's what these type of articles now start bringing up to people to say,
follow-up.
Oh, where's the follow-up? Hey.
That'd be an awesome media outlet, the follow-up.
Where is it?
News
right?
On,
could be a new show right here at 21.6 The Net. And we're running into the back end of the show here, last 3 minutes. But throughout history, right? And I'm going to speak on this racially because this article speaks about black-owned businesses, black-owned homes, black-owned banks, economic equality, education and health, working on criminal justice reform specifically, is throughout history, we have been okay with lip service. And there comes a time where everybody. Well,
That's why this
then where's the outrage?
There was all the protests and nonviolence, but it was MLK's speech was like, we're getting tired of being told to keep being patient.
Right.
That was that message, and it's been
right. But this is 14 months ago. I don't see too many riots going on now because people are upset.
Well, I mean, it's also the riot wasn't even seen like for the message of why they're rioting. Like you said, stop killing them. There'll be nothing to riot about. That wasn't what the focus point. The focus point was those poor stores, and it had nothing to do with
a lot of them.
They're frustrated because they're getting killed.
I mean, but that's why I say it's lip service, right? We've listened. Oh, we've allowed ourselves to understand. Like a broken engagement, kind of. Promises are just that. Yeah, you're right.
So, like, what type of outrage would America listen to of black people over the money?
Well, where's the same people who draw the narrative and the same people who push a story? With the last minute is, why isn't it splattered all over every news media outlet and all over social media that they only 37 have reported 1.7 billion? Are you telling me the other 13 have the other 46, 47, 48 that are already out there? Then let's play on that. But that's what I'm saying. The lip service, the people who have the lips and give that lip service, there's no accountability, there's no follow through.
Yeah, but okay, so if you're the media outlet and you're going to go at the top 50,
yep,
financially, they can shut you down.
Oh yeah, well then they would too.
They can shut you down. So that's probably why you don't see a lot of them exposing the fact that because you got the top 50 in pocket, they can write $1 billion checks and they're going to shut you up too.
That's right.
Oh, can't say that. Facebook will take that off too.
That's right. Sorry.
Like last week.
Yeah. At least we didn't say mask.
At least we didn't say that. We said mask. All right.
Hey, Phil, thanks. Good to have you back. Of course, for all of us, come back at noon. We've got the Dream Home Experts. You don't want to miss that. And then around 1:30ish, we're going to have the Neighborhood Pulse. We will see you all after a while. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for getting caught in the net.
Love you guys.